I want to start with a scenario that I guarantee happens to you, me, everyone listening, probably 5 times a day.
Oh, I think I know where you're going with this.
You run into a friend, a colleague jumps on a call, and they ask that question, "Hey, how are you?"
Yep.
And without even thinking, your mouth just opens and says, "Good." Or maybe, "Fine."
Or the modern classic, busy.
Right, busy. It's just conversational autopilot. It's efficient, sure, it gets us to the next thing, but let's be honest, it's not really the truth.
It's a missed opportunity, is what it is. It's what some psychologists would call low emotional granularity.
Granularity, I like that.
Yeah, you're taking this really complex, high-definition internal experience, and you're crushing it down to a single pixel. Good, bad.
And I get why we do it. It's a social shortcut. But the research we're diving into today suggests this habit isn't just making our conversations, a little boring. It might actually be holding back our emotional intelligence.
Right.
We're talking about the vocabulary of feeling. And I know that sounds a little like a poetry class.
It does, doesn't it? But this isn't about sonnets. This is, believe it or not, about neurobiology. It's about leadership.
So the core idea is that vocabulary is actually a form of power.
That's the premise. If you can't name an emotion, you can't manage it. It's really that simple.
So are you saying we're all running our brains on like an old operating system?
Exactly. Most of us are on MS-DOS,
Yeah.
black and white screen. I feel good or I feel bad. The whole point of this deep dive is to upgrade that system to 4K resolution.
Oh, okay.
Because when you swap a basic word for a specific one, you aren't just sounding smarter. You're actually changing how your brain processes the experience.
No, wait, that's a bold claim. You're saying if I use a different word, I actually feel differently.
100%. There's a theory, the conceptual act theory of emotion, that says your brain basically constructs your feelings based on the concepts you have.
Okay.
So if your only concept is sadness, your brain will just lump disappointment, grief, loneliness, even exhaustion into that one bucket, and it'll fire off the same neurochemicals for all of them.
Which is really inefficient. I mean, treating exhaustion like you'd treat grief seems like a terrible tactical move.
It's a disaster. If you're exhausted, you need sleep. If you're grieving, you need connection. If you label both as just sad, you might try to sleep off your grief or talk your way out of being tired. Neither works.
Okay, I'm sold on the utility. Let's break this down. The research we looked at highlights 3 main buckets where we get lazy: happy, sad, and angry. I want to start with sad because that one feels like the stakes are highest.
I agree. Sad is the ultimate lazy label. It's this blanket we just throw over anything uncomfortable. But if you peel it back, what's really under there? Are you disappointed?
Which means an expectation wasn't met.
Exactly. Disappointment is about a specific gap between what you hoped for and what happened. Or maybe you're lonely. That's a social craving. Or heartbroken, which is a form of grief.
But let me play devil's advocate for a second. Sometimes I just feel bad, I don't always want to sit there and psychoanalyze myself to find the perfect adjective. Isn't there a risk of just overthinking it?
There is, sure. But think about the cost of underthinking it. Let's say you get home from a long day and you tell your partner, "I'm just so sad."
Okay.
So they might try to cheer you up, right? Crack a joke, put on a funny movie. But what you actually were was overwhelmed.
And the joke just makes you want to scream.
Exactly. Because overwhelmed has a specific cause. It means you have too many inputs and not enough capacity. It's a resource problem. The solution isn't a joke. It's someone helping you take a task off your plate. By using the wrong word, you asked for the wrong solution.
That makes a lot of sense. And that brings us to the angry bucket. This is where I feel like things get dangerous. Anger feels so immediate, It's hard to pause and check a thesaurus when you just want to punch a wall.
It is hard. And this is a practice. It's not a switch you just flip. But the anger bucket is fascinating because it's often a mask for other things. We say I'm angry when we're actually afraid or hurt. But let's stick to the anger spectrum itself. The research talks about an intensity scale.
Right, like a volume knob for your feelings.
And this is critical for your physical health. On the low end, you've got annoyed. That's a mosquito buzzing in the room. Then irritated. That's when the mosquito actually bites you.
Okay.
Then you get to angry. And at the very top, you have furious.
And the problem is, we go from 0 to 100 in a split second. Someone cuts us off in traffic, and we immediately say, "I am furious."
And your body is listening. This is the key. If you tell your brain, "I am furious," your amygdala goes, "Okay, code red. We are in a life or death battle,
Mm.
and it dumps cortisol and adrenaline into your system. Your heart rate spikes. You are chemically preparing for war.
All because someone changed lanes without using their blinker?
Yes, you are basically catastrophizing your own biology by using the wrong word. You're biohacking yourself in the wrong direction. If
Wow.
you can just train yourself to pause and say, okay, I'm not furious, I'm just really irritated, your body's response is so much milder. You recover faster. It's called semantic regulation.
That makes me think of the word frustrated. I use that one constantly. I'm so frustrated with this project. But the source material we saw had a really rigid definition for it.
It does. Psychologically, frustration is only supposed to apply when there's a blocked goal. You're trying to get from point A to point B, and there's a wall in your way.
So if I'm just sitting on my couch feeling kind of blup, I can't be frustrated.
Technically, no. You might be bored or apathetic or maybe lethargic, but frustration implies you're actively trying and meeting resistance. And that distinction matters.
How so?
Because if you're frustrated, the solution is to find the wall and figure out how to get over it or around it. If you're lethargic, smashing a wall is not going to help you at all.
It sounds like context is the magic key for all of this. We have to define these emotions not just by the internal feeling, but by what caused them externally.
Context is king. Let's take relieved. We usually just lump that in with happy.
Sure, it feels good.
It does, but relief is specifically the subtraction of a negative thing. It's the absence of pain or a threat. Content, on the other hand, is the absence of want.
Oh, I like that. Content is the absence of want. That's really powerful because happy feels high energy. It feels like a dopamine hit. Contentment feels more like settling in, a quiet peace.
And we live in a culture that chases happy and excited, these high arousal states, and we really undervalue content.
Right.
If you ask someone how their weekend was and they say, I'm content, we think, oh, that's boring. But actually, to be without want, that's an incredible state to be in.
Okay, so let's flip to that positive side then, the happy bucket. If we're upgrading from basic, what are the power player words here? The research mentions proud, grateful, thrilled.
Thrilled is the top of that intensity scale. Peak excitement. You should save that for the big wins. If you're thrilled about your lunch, you have nowhere to go when you win the lottery.
It's like the boy who cried wolf, but with joy.
Precisely. But the one I really want to zoom in on is proud. I think this is the heavy hitter for both professional and personal growth.
Yeah, let's talk about proud because, culturally, depending on where you're from, saying I'm proud of myself can feel a little icky. It can sound arrogant.
It can, but that's usually because we're using it wrong. We use it as a status claim. I'm proud that I'm the boss. That's arrogance. True pride, the kind that builds confidence, is about the process.
The source material we looked at suggests a specific formula for this, and I actually want to try it because I think a lot of people struggle to talk about their achievements without sounding like they're bragging.
Let's do it. The formula has 4 steps.
Yeah.
1, the achievement.
Oh.
2, the difficulty.
Yeah.
3, the learning. And 4, the transformation. You have to hit all 4 to make it really land.
Okay. Let's imagine I'm in a job interview. They ask about a recent success. The basic version would be, I'm happy I launched the new website. It was a good project.
Which is completely forgettable. Tells me nothing about you.
Right. So let me try applying the formula.
Okay.
I'm incredibly proud that we launched the new website last week. That's the achievement. To be honest, the timeline was brutal and we lost 2 key people halfway through, so I was doing double shifts. That's the difficulty.
Yeah.
But I learned that I can actually manage a team through a crisis without panicking, the learning. And now I feel much more confident leading us into the next quarter, the transformation.
See the difference?
I do. It has more substance.
It's a story. You didn't just say, I did a good job. You admitted it was hard, which shows vulnerability. You identified a skill you gained, which shows growth, and you projected it into the future, which shows leadership. The word proud is just the anchor for that whole narrative.
And what's weird is that by admitting it was difficult, it actually sounds less arrogant than just saying, I crushed it.
Exactly. Because arrogance is success without struggle. Pride is success despite the struggle. And you can only make that distinction if you have the vocabulary to frame it.
This applies to storytelling in general, doesn't it? A lot of our listeners want to be better communicators, whether that's at dinner or in a boardroom.
It's an absolute game changer for storytelling. Think about the stories that bore you to tears. They're usually vague. We went on vacation. It was fun. The food was good.
Total snooze fest.
Now compare that to, we went on vacation, but honestly, for the first 2 days, I was so anxious because I'd left my work laptop at home. But by day 3, I just felt this amazing wash of relief and finally just total contentment.
Now I'm hooked.
Yeah.
I want to know why you were anxious. I want to know what made you feel relieved.
Specific emotion words create these little hooks for the listener's empathy. If you say, I was sad, I just project my own generic idea of sadness onto your story.
Mhm.
But if you say, I felt humiliated, ooh, that's a different flavor. I lean in, I can almost feel that heat in my own cheeks. You're transferring the experience, not just reporting data.
So we've covered the buckets, the intensity, the context, the storytelling. But I want to circle back to the real so what. Why does this matter for the person listening right now who isn't a writer, who isn't in therapy?
It matters because of emotional intelligence, or EQ. And study after study shows that EQ is the #1 predictor of success in leadership and in relationships, far more than IQ.
And vocabulary is the foundation of EQ.
It's the bedrock. You cannot regulate an emotion. You cannot perceive accurately. Think of it like a car's dashboard. If your only warning is a single check engine light, you're just going to drive until the car explodes.
Right.
But if your dashboard has specific gauges for oil pressure, tire temp, battery life, you can fix problems before they become catastrophic breakdowns.
That's a great analogy. So happy and sad are just the check engine light.
They are. And living your life by the check engine light is exhausting.
Yeah.
Emotional granularity gives you the gauges. It lets you say, I'm not depressed, check engine. I'm specifically lonely and sleep deprived. Okay, I can fix that. I can call a friend and I can take a nap. Problem solved.
So how do we actually do this? Because old habits die hard. I know for a fact I'm going to walk out of the studio, someone will ask, how's it going? And I'm going to say, good.
You will. And that's fine for the cashier at the grocery store. We don't need to emotionally dump on everyone we meet. But for the conversations that really matter, you can practice what I call the swap.
SWAT.
It's just a mental pause. Before you speak, you catch the first basic word that comes to mind, usually good, bad, mad, or sad. And you ask yourself, is that really true? Or is it a proxy for something more specific?
So if I think I'm mad at my boss, I should pause.
Right. Are you mad or do you feel undervalued? Are you confused by their feedback? Are you embarrassed because they corrected you in a public meeting?
Undervalued is a powerful one because you can't really fix mad at work easily. But you can address feeling undervalued by having a conversation about your role and responsibilities.
Exactly. The specific word points to the specific solution. Here's a little challenge for everyone listening. A bit of an experiment.
We love homework.
For the next week, try to ban the word busy.
Oof, that's a tough one. That's my go-to.
Try it. If someone asks how you are in your swamp, don't say busy. Say, I'm feeling a bit overwhelmed by this project, or I'm really focused and energized right now, or just, I'm exhausted. Be honest about your state, not the status symbol.
It's scary because busy is like armor. It makes us look important. Overwhelmed makes us look human.
And that's the whole point. Connection happens between humans, not between suits of armor.
You know, it really strikes me that this entire conversation, which we started by talking about vocabulary, it's really about knowing yourself better.
It is. Language isn't just a tool for describing reality. It's a tool for shaping it.
It reminds me of that quote. I think it's Wittgenstein. The limits of my language mean the limits of my world.
Spot on. If you only have 3 words for your feelings, you can only experience your inner world in 3 colors. We want you to paint with the whole palette.
So no more good, no more fine. Let's get granular, let's get specific. And maybe in the process, let's get a little more understood by others and by ourselves.
I'd be thrilled with that.
See what you did there? Thanks for listening to The Deep Dive. We'll catch you on the next one.